Howdy, howdy, welcome back to the Crafty Grinding channel, and it is Thursday, November 28th. Happy Thanksgiving for those based in the U.S., as today is Thanksgiving Day in the United States, which means I have an off day and get a chance to do the Arena Cutoff video a little bit earlier than I typically do, which is a good thing because we have a little bit of an oddity with the new arenas here in Marvel Contest of Champions. We actually have two 4-star basic arenas. I guess Kabam was feeling bad given all the maintenance issues, the emergency maintenance issues they had a couple weeks ago when Cull Obsidian's 4-star basic arena came around. So for Thanksgiving Day and ahead of Cyber Weekend, when they plan to rake in a ton of dough, they go ahead and release the Cull Obsidian Arena 4-star basic arena again. So that means today, for the Arena Cutoff video, I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts on round 1 for the Mr. Fantastic 5-star and 4-star feature arenas, the 4-star basic arena for Cull Obsidian, and the 4-star basic arena for Doctor Strange. For those interested in my thoughts for the 3-star feature Mr. Fantastic arena, check out my latest, or not my latest, but my recent Doctor Doom round 1 cutoff arena for the, and then there you'll see some 3-star feature arena thoughts, and those should pretty much basically apply for this one. And to avoid you having to search around, I'll throw a link in the description. So anyway, let me get started with those arenas I'm going to cover today. So the first thing I always like to do is bucket these new arenas to past arenas, as that allow me then to go look at those past arena results to get an idea of what might happen this time. So with the 5-star feature arena, really there's a couple types. You've got new, a couple new, and then old. When it's an old, well, even old, really, there's a couple different ways on how it could shake out with old 5-star feature champs. But with new 5-star feature champs, really there's two buckets, high interest and low interest. And I think with Mr. Fantastic, he's going to be very similar to Doctor Doom and some of those high interest champs. So I'm going to definitely classify this one as a high interest. Now with the 4-star feature, really it simplifies a bit. There's either new or old, and even though there's a slight fluctuation between both those types, I didn't figure out, there's not a big enough variance to create separate interest groups for the different types. So this one's just going to be a new champ for the 4-star feature arena. Then with the 4-star basic arenas, really there's 3 types: high interest, medium interest, and low interest. I think Cull's going to fall in that medium interest group, and I think Doctor Strange is going to fall in those low interest bucket. So now that I've got these new arenas categorized, I can take a look at those past arena results, and we might get an idea of what might happen this time. Let's start first with the 4-star basic medium interest, and you can look at the champs we're dealing with here, all high-end champs who had their first 4-star basic arena trip journey, if you will, and they all kind of were close to 3 million but never made 3 million. And 3 million, really, in my mind, that's when you get in that high interest, and it feels like these days really there just hasn't been many champs that fall into that bucket. I thought Cull Obsidian might have done it, but it doesn't look like it. And now that he's got a second 4-star basic arena and a number of folks were able to get him the first time around, I think these numbers, he's not going to make 3 million. I think that we may actually see a first 3 million champ come around when Namor comes around, but that'll be in a couple weeks, and I'll share more details on that down the road. So anyway, again, I think Cull Obsidian is going to definitely fall into this range. Now, when it comes to 4-star basic low interest champs, you can see kind of how those type of champs that have been in the game for a long time, people have had a chance to get them out of the basic crystal pools. They've been feature champs and 4-star basic champs many times, and those numbers really, as you can see here, just get over that last milestone, which is at 1.5 million, so it's just usually a couple 100,000 around there. So you can see Classic Spider-Man was a recent example, still has some decent utility as a defender, especially for progressing alliances and rosters. So anyway, you could saw that number at 1.55, and everything else is right around that, or 1.6 million. So I think Doctor Strange is going to squarely fit into this bucket, especially given there's other 4-star basic arena going on. So coming down to the 4-star feature new champs, you could see here it doesn't matter how good really the champ is perceived to be, whether it's Black Widow Clairvoyant or Elsa Bloodstone, you're going to get over 10 million, and in some cases you may even get close to 12 million. So some of the better champs you can see here with Black Widow Clairvoyant, with Guillotine 2099, and especially here recently with Doctor Doom, we got close to 12 million, or right around 12 million. So it's definitely getting over 11 million, but maybe even closer to 12 million. And I think this is clearly where Mr. Fantastic's going to fit. Then with a 5-star feature high interest, there's a low interest group that's anywhere from low 30s all the way up to high 40s. Then you have the high interest group where, it's 55 million up. And in most cases, high interest are up. And really, the only reason I say 55 plus is because Warlock just barely made it. I almost felt like in the past, high interest would be around 60 million plus. But because Warlock was so close, just under that, I kind of consider that kind of the floor, if you will, for the high interest. I think in this case, Mr. Fantastic is going to be closer to what we saw for Guillotine 2099, even though there was a bunch of bots that bot accounts that probably no longer exist in the game and just took some real accounts and folks less of an opportunity to get Guillotine 2099 out of the arenas, unfortunately. But with Dr. Doom, there was a lot of grinding going on. Whether or not there were bots, I'm sure there were a handful. Those accounts, hopefully, Kabam have already expelled them out of the community. But anyway, I do think this is going to be that range, anywhere from 70 to 80 million for Mr. Fantastic. So anyway, and again, when I share these type of past results, these are all for the Veterans Bracket. If you're newer to the game, Veterans Bracket, there's 3 types of brackets for Arena: Beginner, Intermediate, and Veteran. As the name applies, Beginner means your account is brand new to the game, 1 to 30 days. Intermediate's 31 to 60. And lastly, that Veterans is 61 day plus. And so it's pretty quick. You get through those early brackets pretty fast, and then you're going to be with everybody else in the Veterans Bracket. And all these results are for recent Veterans Bracket results. So now I have to take a look at all of these. Here are my thoughts for round 1 cutoffs for the new arenas, starting first with a 5-star feature, Mr. Fantastic. I think it's going to be 75 million. I'm not sure he's going to push Dr. Doom for that the new all-time round 1 cutoff, but I do think it's definitely going to be over 70 million, probably higher than Guillotine. Even though Guillotine 2099 had mini bots out there, I'm sure there's still going to be some mini bot accounts that want Mr. Fantastic for a little bit before they get banned. But anyway, coming over to the 4-star feature, I think it's 12 million. I think we saw with Clairvoyant, Black Widow, and with Dr. Doom here real recently that we can still push up to 12 million. The community anyway can still push it up to 12 million for these type of new champs that there's some interest in. I think for Cull Obsidian it's going to be 2.8, and that's probably on the high side. It's probably realistically going to be more closer to 2.5, 2.6. But I'm going to say 2.8 just in case, because I think a lot of folks out there are still interested in him, even though Kabam has discussed a nerf coming around, or balancing, the nicer way of saying it's coming down the pipe. But that was postponed, and there's no clarity on when that new date's going to happen. So we'll just keep it at 2.8 million for now. And then, with Doctor Strange, I think he's squarely going to fit in that group like we saw with Juggernaut, Phoenix, Classic Spider-Man here recently at 1.55 million. What is going to be interesting with that type of arena score is that 11 to 25% charge here at 1.5. There's going to be a fine line of where, people pushing to that last milestone, hoping to get that top shard tier versus getting the champ. That is always a fine line with these low type of numbers, so keep that in mind. And these cutoffs, as I always say, past results do not guarantee future results. I try to get within 5 to 10%. Most of the time I'm close, but not always. Sometimes exceptions occur, so I always like to give grind targets as well to give yourself that extra buffer. Nothing's guaranteed with arena grinding. This will just give you a better shot. I think if you really want to make sure you don't miss out on Mr. Fantastic, go to 81, 83 million. And then with that 82 million we saw with Dr. Doom, go over that last number if you really want to make sure you don't miss on him. And that means you're going to have a really crazy long weekend grinding away. But that's pretty much where you might have to go to make sure you don't miss out on him. I mean, obviously, there's always a chance that, a lot of people see these type of numbers and hear across the community the hype, and so they'll just stay away from the arena, and then the numbers plummet. Sure, that could happen here, but if you want to make sure you don't miss out, you want to go to that number. For the 4-star feature, Mr. Fantastic, you want to go to 13 million. For Cull Obsidian, 3.1, 3.2 should lock it up. And then for Doctor Strange, 1.7 million should be fine. And again, these grind targets and these cutoff predictions are for the Veterans Bracket. When it comes to the earlier bracket, pretty much a crapshoot. It's throwing darts at a board to try to figure out what's going to happen. There's so much volatility here of late. I've heard from a couple folks that are, they're having newer accounts just to grind through and get a sense of what's going on, even though they have a main account, and they're seeing, especially like with Dr. Doom, I guess a lot of people are doing it, newer alternate accounts to get these newer champs to get a chance to play with them. Well, that meant all the scores are going pretty much higher. That's the latest thing I've heard. In a month from now, those things could totally change. I doubt it, though, with Silver Surfer out there. Maybe a lot of people figuring at that point they're getting to the intermediate arenas and have a better chance of getting them. But anyway, so keep that all in mind. It's pretty much a crapshoot, kind of guesstimates at this point, but this will at least give you some targets to go after. For the beginner bracket, 3-star features, $245,000, 4-star basic, $1.2 million, 4-star basic Doctor Strange, $900,000. So for Cull, I think it's going to be around $1.2, $1.3 million. For 4-star basic Doctor Strange, around $900,000. For 4-star feature Mr. Fantastic, $1.6, $1.7 million. I heard some folks saying it was closer to $2 million in the beginner's bracket for Doctor Doom, so that just shows you there was a lot of hype, a lot of grinding going on. Likely, probably some more bot accounts involved, but who knows. Intermediate bracket, 3-star feature, $500,000, 4-star basic Cull Arena, Cull Obsidian, $1.4 million, 4-star basic Doctor Strange, $900,000. And lastly, for the 4-star feature intermediate bracket, Mr. Fantastic, you're looking around $1.8. I'd give probably $2 million just to be sure. So anyway, these are my thoughts for round 1 of the Mr. Fantastic, Cull Obsidian, Doctor Strange arenas. Love to hear your thoughts, especially if you have any questions. Throw them on down in the comment section, and I will try to get to them. Or better yet, throw them out on my Twitter account. I'm looking on that a little bit more regularly. It's easier for me to respond to folks out there. So twitter.com/craftygrinding, and you will find my the channel Twitter account there, and I'll be happy to discuss these arenas or any questions you may have as well. So anyway, hopefully you found this information helpful. Happy Thanksgiving again for everybody based in the States. And if you didn't find this information helpful, enjoyed watching the video, it would really help if you would click that thumbs up button. And if you like these type of arenas and you haven't yet subscribed, we'd really appreciate it if you did. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a great day.